Celeste is a platform game which tells the story of a young woman named Madeline. She is trying to get over her depression and anxiety by climbing Mount Celeste. Mount Celeste is said to be a very mysterious place with lots of obstacles, and climbing to the top is very hard. Mount Celeste is a metaphor for one's personal struggles and the hardships one faces to overcome them. The game's difficulty can be explained by this metaphor. During the climb, every chapter, the platform mechanics of the game change. This can be explained by healing having many layers to itself. Madeline needs to deal with the obstacles of the mountain presents and also her inner demons. The game also has a few boss battles. The game uses very common platform mechanics. These are jump, dash, double dash, and hold. However, the game also has advanced mechanics which are hard to pull off. The most common one is called super. This extends the jump of Madeline. While on air, Madeline can do just one dash. The dash counter is indicated by her hair color. Normally it's red, but when you are out of dash, it turns blue. There is a small window where Madeline's hair is white after dashing, and if during that time, if super and jump are done, Madeline regains her dash. This is called extended super. Hyper is done by dashing down diagonally and then jumping before the dash ends. It's like super, but it's faster and has a lower jump height. It is used for jumping in tighter places. There is also extended hyper, which is similar to extended super. A wave dash can be performed by dashing down diagonally after a jump and then jumping almost instantly after landing. A wall bounce occurs when the player dashes upwards when adjacent to a wall and then jumps during the dash. A demo dash is performed by dashing down, then immediately releasing the down key. This reduces the hitbox and allows Madeline to get through obstacles. This is me not being able to do demo dash. A neutral jump occurs when the player jumps away from a wall without any other input. This doesn't use stamina and Madeline can climb the wall forever. And this is also something that I can't do. A spike jump is when Madeline neutral jumps when she's moving in the same direction as the spikes. This recovers the dash and doesn't harm Madeline. And you guessed it, I can't do this one as well. Lastly, the screen transitions recover the dash. The game can also use the wind to change player speed. Wind coming from the right slows the player, and wind coming from the left makes you go faster. If the wind is blowing from below, the player can jump higher and has more stamina, and if it's blowing from above, there will be less stamina and smaller jumps. The game also has accessibility settings. These include changing the game speed, invincibility, infinite dash, infinite stamina, and dash assist. Madeline has only one life and can die upon impact with obstacles. She has a stamina meter. While holding walls, this will run out after a while, and jumping also drains it. It will be renewed when she lands on the ground. The same goes for dashes too. For the first 6 chapters of the game, Madeline can dash only once before hitting the ground. In chapters 7 and 8, she has 2 dashes. In chapter 8, the dashes don't come back when she lands. She needs to find the yellow crystals. Yellow crystals recover dash and stamina. There are 3 types of collectibles. The first and most common ones are strawberries. These strawberries add real challenges to each level. Some of them are hidden this way. The game encourages the player to explore the map. There are some levels where obtaining the strawberry is the real challenge and not the actual level completion. Each chapter has a crystal heart. These are usually hidden somewhere on the map. Chapter 7 has 6 crystals and 1 crystal heart. The last collectible is the B-side cassettes. These cassettes unlock B-side versions of the chapters. These are much harder than the original levels. After finishing all the B-side chapters, C-sides are unlocked. C-sides are significantly harder than B-sides. Another collectible, but not essential in my opinion, is the golden strawberry. After clearing the C-sides, at the beginning of each chapter, a golden strawberry appears. To obtain the golden strawberry, the player must clear the level without dying. This is the hardest thing to achieve in-game. In this game, every chapter uses different mechanics. This footage is from Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is compromised of the mechanics of each chapter. For the first chapter, if Madeline touches the spikes, she will die. Another distinct mechanic of the chapter is the traffic lights. These traffic lights move upon holding or jumping onto them. The player can use these to jump over large distances with momentum. Like all other chapters, Chapter 1 also includes springs and disappearing platforms. In Chapter 2, the main mechanic is space blocks. To use these blocks, the player must dash into them. This renews stamina and dash. At the end of the Chapter 2, we see the first boss of the game. Madeline multiplies and chases after Madeline. Madeline imitates the movements of Madeline. Touching Madeline results in death. In Chapter 3, the main obstacles are the sludges. When Madeline touches them, she dies. The sludges can rotate, move, etc. Also, some tiles spawn sludges. Once Madeline touches them, she can't go back. The levels also has moving platforms. When Madeline steps on them, they move downwards, so the player must time their jumps. At the end of the chapter, Mr. Oshiro, our friend and owner of the hotel, goes crazy and tries to kill Madeline. Mr. Oshiro charges at Madeline. Madeline can either dodge this or jump on Mr. Oshiro's head. This will recharge stamina and dash. Chapter 4 introduces many new mechanics, starting with the white clouds. They give momentum while jumping. There are also pink clouds, but they disappear after one jump. Another mechanic is the green bubble. These bubbles can take Madeline in the direction of the input for a small distance. They also recharge energy and stamina. Another big part of this level is the wind. This can make Madeline slower or faster depending on the direction. At the end, snowballs are thrown at Madeline. These work in a very similar manner to Mr. Oshiro's attacks. In Chapter 5, there are red bubbles. These are very similar to green bubbles, but they won't stop until the player makes a dash or the bubble hits a wall. The chapter has many temple gates, and there are small switches to open them. The chapter also uses something very similar to traffic lights in Chapter 1. However, these are moved by dashing anywhere in the level. There is a boss battle at the end. Madeline is trying to save a crystallized Theo while fighting a fish monster. This also works very similar with Mr. Oshiro, but their movements are more random. While carrying Theo, Madeline cannot dash. Theo can be used for temple gate switches and going through spikes. Chapter 6 is very important story-wise. At the beginning of the chapter, we are introduced to leaves. Leaves make Madeline fly and they have a calming effect on her. The leaves can go in any direction and change direction while moving. There are also totems. These help Madeline jump very far. At the end of the chapter, Madeline is running away from Madeline. Madeline uses light beams and balls to kill Madeline. When Madeline touches Madeline, she is thrown backwards. As said before, Chapter 7 uses a combination of all the previous chapters. After the game ends, there is an extra chapter. In Chapter 8, dash is not recharged upon landing. The yellow crystals are used for recharging. The chapter has two types of elements, fire and ice. Their usage differs immensely. To get through the chapter, Madeline must change the elements. For tactical maneuvering to clear each level, the player must find a way to get through the obstacles. The player can choose the simplest way to achieve this or use more advanced movements. Platform games are usually suitable for speedruns. A more advanced player can choose advanced mechanics to clear the game faster. Celeste has a strong community. Speedrun videos of Celeste are pretty popular. Also, the demo dash movement was found by a player which was later used by the developers as a progression mechanism in the DLC. One of the main characters, Theo, has an actual Instagram account, and the name of the account was mentioned in the game. Through its depiction of mental health, the game has garnered a lot of appreciation. The game was inspired by the developer's personal struggles with depression and anxiety. During the game, Madeline fights with her inner demon, Madeline, but she also has help from her friend Theo. As the game progresses, Madeline starts to heal and embraces Madeline. The aim of the game was to make the players kinder to themselves. Lastly, the game is also known for being a good LGBT representation. After the reveal of Madeline being a transgender woman, the game was embraced by the queer community because Madeline reflected their real-life struggles and mental health problems.